Hello, everyone. My name is Christine. I am talking about anything related to the transition from a trauma driven survival mode to a self led, soul embodied living and thriving. I am your messenger guide of transitions, thresholds, crossroads, liminal spaces, transformation, difficult changes. And I talk a lot about healing trauma on all levels on a more like holistic, if you want to call it like that, basis, because we are beings that do not only have a body, we also have, not only have a mind, we have a soul. We are multidimensional beings. We have lived many, many, many lifetimes in other places, in other bodies, and all of that is still stored deep in our subconscious mind and on the soul level. So trauma healing starts not only in the mind, not only with emotions, it also comes from the deepest core of our being, which is the deep subconscious, unconscious realm, plus the soul level. And that is one, maybe the biggest mistake that I have made as someone who has always struggled to to just be here in a human body and in this world since I was very little. Like this whole thing of whatever label you want to slap on, starseed or light worker, like I don't want to be here. And because of trauma, there was a lot of dissociation and fragmentation. I didn't feel at home in my body at all. And there was a lot of fragmentation of the soul, of the psyche. So all of that has to be taken into account when a healing journey starts and when you want to heal it properly. And the missing link, or the big missing piece for me, was the somatic level. Like trauma is stored in the body, especially pre-verbal trauma. Like me, for example, I had a very severe, very early attachment trauma in the first few years of my life. So that is pre-verbal, so you will not remember it at all, but it's there. It's there in the subconscious mind, it's there on the somatic level, it's there in the body. And to access these deeper levels and to heal the deeper layers of any kind of trauma, attachment trauma, developmental or complex trauma, childhood trauma, whatever you want to call it, you gotta go there. You gotta go in there. And for many, many, many years, I've done so much healing work. I've gone so far. I've gone so deep. I've jumped into every abyss of my soul. I've woken up to truths beyond that lifetime. I've had past life memories of many, many, many other lifetimes. I even processed them through my body. I got sick because something had manifested itself through my body. And I've done all of that healing, and I've done the right thing. I've started with inner child healing intuitively without knowing it's a thing. I just did it. Like I didn't even follow anyone. I didn't even have a smartphone when I started back then. About 11 or 12 years ago, I was already traveling the world, and I just did what came to me intuitively, and that was inner child healing and reparenting. And then over the years, I did a lot of past life trauma, ancestral trauma, all of that thing. and still the inner child healing. But what I did not do was how it manifests in the body. And I did not do the somatic work. And that is super important. And when you start from a more like conventional angle, which is, let's say, therapy, psychoanalysis, or any kind of like talking therapy, then it can be an entry point. But there are many, many people who've done that for years and years and years and even decades, and they haven't really healed yet. Their life hadn't become better because you are just circling around the trauma. You're just talking about it, and maybe you uncover the reasons what happened with your mother, your father, or whatever in your childhood, but that's it. Like, you do not go to the level where the trauma started, and that's the somatic level in the body, and that's the emotional level. Trauma will always, trauma happens in the first place because when we are little and something bad happens, we cannot feel it. So we kind of freeze that part in us together with that overwhelming emotion of fear or grief or anger or shame or guilt or whatever it is, especially when it's ongoing trauma. If it's complex trauma or developmental trauma, it happens over many years. So these parts are split off somewhat, and we don't really have access to them anymore, but they're still there. And then we will build defense mechanisms, survival strategies, personas, masks, the false self to somehow get through life. And at that time, that's necessary and that's helpful. But then there comes a time where all of that stuff becomes so heavy and it impacts us negatively in all areas of our lives. So when the healing journey starts, many of us just don't even know where to start. Like, I certainly somehow didn't. I just kind of stumbled into the whole thing, kicking and screaming. I didn't want to. So I'm a bit all over the place. What I really want to say is we have a body, mind, soul complex. We have emotions. We are a multidimensional being. We're not just this meat sack here with like an ego mind, and that's it. That's just part of it. So true healing has to happen on all levels. On the soul level, the subconscious realm, the emotional level. Yes, the mental and the psyche too, and especially the somatic level, the body. Because it manifests itself everywhere. So anything could be an entry point. But what I want you to take away from this is just keep in mind, if you want to do it the right way without bypassing, let's say spiritual bypassing, what many people do in spiritual community, in New Age, in love and light circles. They just gloss over anything bad or negative, and it's just all like love, light, and gratitude, and that's not how you do it. That's really, really, really not. Spiritual bypassing is probably one of the biggest reasons or obstacles to true and long-lasting healing. And and like I thought I did the work, but I did some sort of spiritual bypassing too, because it's one thing to look into the 28th past life. What's another persecution, another I've been burned at the stake or whatever. But like in this life, in reality, I did not take the grounded action steps, and I did not go to the somatic level where the deepest pre-verbal layers of the trauma were. So that's some sort of spiritual bypassing too. It's not just love and light and la 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 and meditating with unicorns. It can be what I did. It can also be you get kind of stuck in the, oh, I'm a starseed and I'm a Pleiadian or I'm a Nocturian and and like this subtle superiority, like justifying feeling different maybe and not feeling like belonging, and maybe there is also trauma of having been bullied, having of not belonging, and then there's this little this subtle danger of using these kind of labels as, oh well, I'm not like these muggles, I'm not like these humans, so that's why I didn't belong, because I'm much better because I'm a starseed or whatever. And that can be too a form of spiritual bypassing. I mean, it's still fun. I've been there, I've done that for many years, all of that cool stuff. But I mean, you can, of course, do it. But if you get stuck in there, and maybe for years, without, again, doing the real work, the real healing work, feeling these feelings, like facing what you never wanted to face within yourself, the deepest fears, the deepest grief, the deepest shame, the deepest guilt, and healing these parts in us, which are mostly the inner child and the inner teenager, and becoming a loving parent for these parts, for these traumatized little child parts in us. And we float around on other, in these other realms. That is too a form of spiritual bypassing, and bypassing true healing work. So anyway, I'm rambling a bit. So yeah, that's what I've been thinking. Like, if you take one thing away from all of this, it's wherever you come from naturally, more like the conventional thing with engaging the mind in therapy, or more like from the pure physical, even the somatic, that's good. But then don't forget about the soul level. And if you're more like a spiritual transcendence person like me, then you come from the soul level, but then you completely neglect the physical and the somatic. So just we're body, mind, soul, heart beings. So all of these layers need the healing, need the attention. And do not just ignore one or half of them, because it can already help, but the healing work will not be complete. So that's what I want to say for today. Thank you very much for listening. Have a great day. Bye-bye.